Good morning, welcome to the March 17, 2021 Technical Review Committee meeting. Let's see, I think our first order of business this morning is review and approval of the minutes. Do we have any adjustments to the March 3rd minutes?
Make a motion that we approve the March 3rd minutes as presented.
Thank you, we got a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed likewise? Hearing none, the March 3rd minutes are approved. Do we have any announcements this morning, Karen, Aaron? Okay, we'll move right into project review. The first item on our agenda this morning is Preserve at Point Washington. And I see we have a request to continue to the April 7, 2021 Technical Review Committee meeting at 8:30 a.m. in this location. Can we have a motion at the dais?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
In reality, for our area,
Second.
are mainly related to
We have a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed likewise? Hearing none, this item is continued to the April 7th Technical Review Committee meeting at 8:30 a.m. in this location. That moves us to agenda number 3, Townplace Suites. We also have a request to continue to April 7. Can we have a motion at the dais?
Motion to continue.
We have a motion to continue to
Second.
April 7th. We have a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed likewise? Hearing none, this item is continued to the April 7th Technical Review Committee meeting at 8:30 a.m. in this location. That moves us to agenda item number 4, Community Plaza. We previously had a request to table this particular item for failure to resubmit, but I understand we've had a recent resubmittal on this project. We've got a recommended motion to continue to the 21st. Is that acceptable to the applicant? Thank you, sir. We'll entertain that motion at the dais.
That April 21st.
We,
I'll make a motion we continue this project to April 21st TRC meeting.
we have a motion to continue to April 21st. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Have a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed likewise? Hearing none, this item is continued to the April 21st Technical Review Committee meeting at 8:30 a.m. in this location. That moves us to agenda item number 5, the Highway 283 commercial. And we have a request to continue on that item also to April 21st. I understand we've had a resubmittal or we're expecting a resubmittal on this item. Anybody representing the applicant here this morning? Don't see anyone. We'll entertain a motion to continue this item to April 21st.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed likewise? Hearing none, this item is continued to April 21st, 2021 at 8:30 a.m. in this location. And that moves us to item number 6, the Krupp rezoning, and this request has been reviewed by Bob Baronti. Bob, if you can introduce it for us.
Yes, Mr. Chair, this is a rezoning application submitted by Tanya Nation on behalf of Phil Krupp, requesting to change the current zoning district from conservation residential 1 and 2.5 to conservation residential 2 to 1 on approximately 20 plus minus acres. The parcel number is in your staff report, Mr. Chair. This project was continued. It was a future land use. They submitted to get under the Air Force's requirements for their missile training routes. They meet that. The Air Force has since concurred that it's okay. All comments have been addressed. It meets the comprehensive plan. The agent is here. If you have any questions for the agent, can I enter the staff report in the record?
So entered.
And my name is Bob Baronti. Did you have any questions for me before I turn it over to the applicant?
How much of this site is wet?
There is a large piece, I believe, that is wet, but they are staying out of that wet area.
Is the applicant aware of the board's initiative to eliminate the wetland density transfer?
I think they are. If not, I will let them know today, and the applicant is here today.
Let's hear from the applicant.
Yes, sir. No further questions for me? Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. My name is Michael Brooker. I'm here with AvCon. I'm representing Tanya Nation today. She wasn't able to make it.
Morning.
Good morning. We're representing Philip Krupp. We are requesting to rezone from conservation residential 1 development unit 2.5 acres to 2 units per acre. Approximately 11.79 acres of the site will remain conserved and open space, and that does include the wetlands and the wetland buffers. We're maintaining a minimum 25-foot buffer between or around the wetland. We are going to stay out of the wetlands. This will allow us to put roughly 39 units on the property, and that is after meeting all setback requirements per LDC and other county requirements. Any questions? Also, with the rezoning, it would require 60% of the site to remain open. And with the current layout, we are around 61% of the site will remain open to buffers and wetlands.
How many units what's the present density of the site?
The present density is 1 unit per 2.5 acres, which would allow for 8 units. And we're requesting to do 2 units per acre, which would have us around 39 units.
Have y'all prepared any kind of preliminary site plan that would demonstrate the things that you're?
Yes, sir. We can have that to you if.
I see there's at least one in the traffic analysis
Yes, sir.
layout. I think that's adequate for this. It appears that we met the minimum requirements for this application to move forward. I would caution you, though, that the mood at the dais, once we get to the BCC, has not been favorable to land use increases in South Walton, especially where the site has a large percentage of environmentally sensitive land.
Right.
And we are going through the process now of holding public hearings related to eliminating the opportunity to transfer density from wetlands. I would recommend that you stay in touch with those particular hearings and watch the legislative process as it moves forward. It very well could impact this particular site.
Sure.
And the same board that's recommending the elimination of the wetland density transfer is the same board that will hear this particular application.
Chair, I'd also note that there's quite a bit of parcel located in the flood zone as well.
How are we going to do that? That's a good question. We got a policy that basically discourages increases density in a special flood hazard area unless you've got room to place all of that density on uplands. And are y'all prepared to meet that requirement?
Yes, sir.
Because the site plan doesn't demonstrate that. That's in,
Okay.
in the,
We could demonstrate that further.
yeah, and a large portion of this is an unnumbered A zone, which is going to require a flood study. But do take a look at that particular policy that discourages increases in density in the floodplain unless you can demonstrate that you can place all that density on the uplands.
Yes, sir.
That will absolutely be a limiting factor for any increase. I would note, just for the audience, it's the applicant's due process right to make application for an increase in or a change in the zoning on their particular property. It is a legislative request, and it is completely within the purview of the Board of County Commissioners as to whether to grant a change in zoning. Our responsibility here at the TRC is to make sure that the process has been followed and the applicant is well aware of the policies that might impact this particular application and any pending legislative requests that are moving through the process on the way to the BCC. This item will get public hearings at the Planning Commission and the Board of County Commissioners. We'll take the moment to invite any technical questions or technical comments from anyone in the audience or anyone on Zoom. Yes, ma'am. You would come to the podium and state your name for the record and spell your last name, please.
I'm Mandy Cooper. Last name is Cooper. My address is 1075 East Nursery Road, which is just around the corner from Nellie. Just have some comments about how this will impact my property as well as a lot of our neighbors. We have actually have 61 people that have signed a petition strongly opposing this property rezoning. Who do I hand this to? You? I have a copy of the petition.
You're welcome to present it. I mean, a petition is not competent substantial evidence.
Okay.
It's an indication of public opinion.
Okay. Well,
I would recommend that you bring that to the Planning Commission. You're certainly welcome to submit it into evidence here today.
Okay.
But we don't consider a petition competent substantial evidence to consider as to whether or not this meets the requirements of the Comprehensive Plan Land Development Code. It is certainly evidence of public opinion in the neighborhood about this particular property, and the best opportunity and first opportunity to exert that public opinion is at the Planning Commission, which would be the next step after this process, but you're absolutely welcome to submit it today.
okay. All right. I will. Do I save my comments for that, or can I go ahead and tell you?
You're welcome to make them here if you'd like to.
Good, because I've prepared a few. Well, since the neighborhood and where we are, we have large lots, and we were not within 300 feet notification requirement. However, we will most certainly be impacted by this development. As neighbors, our biggest concern is a decrease in protection from flood and wind damage, with damage to vital wetlands near the bay, damaging impact to critical habitat, biodiversity, and wildlife. That's a big one for me. We, as you know, are surrounded by water. So, I mean, as that big parcel that was cleared out, the corner of Nellie and Chad Holly, as we go around speaking to neighbors, that has moved a huge rat infestation all over to various pieces of property because, I mean, hell, the same thing with deer and bear. I mean, how many times do we see on social media how they're in somebody's backyard? Well, they got nowhere to go. I mean, are they going to swim across the bay?
Well, we do have 55,000 acres of state forest and state park.
Okay, but are they gonna cross 98 to get there?
Probably not very safe.
Right, exactly. So it's a concern. It's a valid one as far as I'm concerned. This particular property is, I'm in real estate, so I've been living here for 20 years. I've seen a big change, as we all have, anybody that's been around here very long. That property is actually already on the market, boasting that I'll read it for you. It's listed for $1.79 million. A rare prime 20-acre parcel for residential development in booming South Walton, Santa Rosa Beach, which is one of the highest growth districts in the county. And Walton County is one of the growth markets in the state as well as the southeast. A rezoning process is in the works to Conservation Residential CR21 with a total of 2 units per acre for approximately 20 acres. Expected completion of this rezoning April 2021. Agreements are in place for the adjacent 20 acres to the east, which are also available. Call agent for details. That's some good comments. I mean, anyway. I'm all for development. I mean, that's where I make my money. I sell houses, so I'm all for it in the right way. I hope you guys will keep the zoning as it was intended. And that's about all I've got to say today. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
think we
Invite
got
you
it
to come back and bring those comments to the planning commission once that hearing is scheduled. Anyone else wish to make a comment about this application? Yes, ma'am, in the back.
Happy St. Patrick's Day. My name is Margaret Landry, Landry. I live at 21 Joy Lane and have just gotten involved in zoning issues, mainly because what happened up at Chat Holly and Nellie, and that was just devastating for our neighborhood. So I understand what you all have to weigh, and I appreciate all you do. And, you know, you get it from developers, you get it from homeowners, you get it from all different sides, and everybody has their opinion. So I appreciate all you do. But I do have a couple of comments, and mostly it's about the wind damage and the decrease in trees and flooding from an increase in the paved surfaces. Now, they said that they were going to keep away from the wetland areas, which is awesome. But if they do that, then they're not going to have 1 house or 2 houses per acre. They're going to have, in reality, 3 or 4 houses per acre.
Yes, ma'am. We calculate that based on gross density. It will be clustered out of the wetlands to protect the wetlands. Walton County has a long history of protecting wetlands and allowing developers an opportunity to cluster the density to avoid impacting the wetlands.
Right. What I'm saying, though, is if that happens, there are a lot more impervious surfaces. There's a lot less places for the water to go. There's houses, there's driveways, there's streets, so there's less, there's less ability for flood water to go away. So that's my point about that. Also, when you talk about mitigating, in that Nagusi, I know I'm mispronouncing that place, but how does that really help us south of the bay? If you buy mitigation points or whatever it is in north.
That program is not a Walton County program. That's a Department of Environmental Protection program. If you get a permit from them to impact wetlands, there's a mitigation program that you've got to participate in depending on the quality of the wetlands that you're proposing to impact.
Right, I get that, but I'm just saying it doesn't help us with our flooding issues on this
Does it help
side.
anyone on Nellie Drive? Probably not, because
Right.
the mitigation is somewhere else in the county where our groundwater recharge happens at a much greater degree than here on Nellie Drive.
Right, but it doesn't help us as neighbors, so that's kind of my point there. And I get it, in order to, what happened with Four Star, in order to get the amount of money they want for that property, they need to be able to put in a certain number of homes. And I know that's not a technical issue, but that is the reality. So that's why they want to, put in as many houses as they can, so that I think they bought that property, and unless my research is wrong, that property was bought in 1990 for $38,000. The appraiser's office has the land valued at $175,000, and it's on the market for almost $2 million. So I don't know, it just doesn't seem fair. I guess that's how business is done, but they knew when they bought that property that there was a substantial amount of wetlands on that property, and you can't build on wetlands. When I was looking for property to buy, my property I bought in 1990 cost substantially more than $38,000, but, you know, I don't have wetlands, and I was able to build a house. So, anyway, that's the point. I just think that if they build, even if they concentrate on the uplands, which I do think clustering is a good way to go to protect the wetlands, you've still got to have trees cut down, and that is going to affect our floodplain in that area. So mitigation just doesn't seem fair in the situation.
One of the benefits of clustering is to reduce the cost of infrastructure and the amount of infrastructure that you have to have and the amount of impervious surface. If all of the houses are close together, you have to have less length of streets, less length of sidewalks because they're closer together, as opposed to if they were spread out throughout this entire development.
Right, I know what you mean,
You'd
but...
have to build a lot more to get there.
Right, but at the same time, you've got more concentrated areas of concrete, and we've got a couple of developments that are down the pike, you know. I mean, Chad Holly and Nellie hasn't even started, and that's going to be, that was zoned conservation residential, if I'm remembering correctly, and that zoning was changed.
Yeah.
So I just think that whoever decided zoning didn't do it capriciously. It was done thoughtfully, and it was done correctly, and that is the zoning that should be kept for that neighborhood. They don't, I shouldn't say, okay.
No, go ahead.
Well, they're not stakeholders. They don't live here, you know? I mean, they're not neighbors. They live in Arkansas. I mean, I understand they want to get the maximum they want, and I don't want them not to make a living. I just don't want it to be at the detriment of the neighborhood. Just put in the amount of homes that the zoning requires.
Thank you, ma'am.
Have a nice day.
Anyone else wish to make a comment about this particular application? Yes, sir, at the very back.
Good morning. My name is Mike Saylor, Saylor.
Morning.
I live at 881 Nellie Drive, and my request is actually pretty simple, and I've heard some very good discussion this morning, and I would like to say that we would recommend the board not change the rezoning to increase the density in our area. And I don't want to get into hearsay or comment, but that is my desire. And there are other neighbors, I think, that are watching online. If they had anything to say as well, maybe they could pitch in too. So that's really all I had to say. I disagree with the rezoning. I think it's smart to leave it the way it is. And so, thank you.
I recommend you bring those comments to the Planning Commission once that hearing is scheduled. Yes, sir. Thank you. Anyone else wish to make a comment about this particular application? Seeing no other hands in the room, no other hands on Zoom, do we have a recommended motion, Bob?
Chair, I'd like to recommend a motion to approve and move it to the next appropriate planning commission for the next stage and public hearing.
Thank you, Bob. One quick question. This site will be fully served by public water and sewer?
Correct.
Thank you. We've got a recommended motion. Do we have a motion at the dais?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. The motion on the floor is to move this forward to the Planning Commission for consideration of the zoning change request. There will be a public hearing at that particular meeting. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed likewise? Hearing none, this item is moved forward to the next available Planning Commission where it will receive a public hearing.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Zoning change. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
This moves us to item number 7, the Eden's Landing PUD Amendment number 3. It's reviewed by Tim Brown. Tim, if you could introduce it for us, please.
Yes, thank you. Good morning. This is a major development order application submitted by Interlight Engineering requesting approval to amend the previously approved Eden's Landing PUD in order to add 32 additional single-family lots on 15.35 acres with a future land use of mixed use and conservation and a zoning of T&D and conservation. It's located next to Eden Garden State Park in Point Washington. Since the staff report was completed, they've resubmitted, so the only outstanding comment is from GIS concerning roadway names. I have not gotten any direction yet on how we're going to resolve the conservation portion of the project, but I did make a condition that the approval of this project is conditioned upon the resolution of that zoning area. And with that, I would like to enter the staff report into the record, and I'll entertain any questions the board may have.
We need to, in our summary of comments, the environmental comment says non-comply. However, the text of that comment says there are no outstanding issues.
Yeah, she just has those 3 conditions of approval. Same with floodplain. He has those, one condition of approval in the conditions portion of the staff report.
Why would we say it doesn't comply?
Sorry, what's the question?
On page 2.
Oh. I forgot to change it.
Including Tim Brown's.
Well, yeah, mine was non-comply when I did the staff report, but since they resubmitted, they are in compliance now. I mean, Haley's is incorrect, but mine,
Yeah, you still had some outstanding comments there.
yes, mine was correct at the time the staff report was finished. Yeah, that was my error.
I think our land use attorney is on Zoom, zooming in from another part of the country. Good morning, Mr. Hall. Do you have a comment on our, any review of the title policy may be related to that conservation area?
Good morning, Matt. Good morning, staff. We've had a look at it, and I've actually asked for some additional information. We don't see anything that, at this point, points clearly to the fact that this was anything other than an error. But I do have one more source I'd like to look at before we get to the next stage.
Thank you, sir. Do we feel comfortable moving this?
Sorry to be so unhelpful.
Do we feel comfortable moving this forward subject to resolving that last issue?
If that was a question for me, Mr. Chairman, that's, I do.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Do we have any other questions from any member of the TRC?
I don't have any.
Comments from the applicant?
To the April 8th Planning Commission meeting, so, and we are willing to assist any way we can with Mr. Hall's process in any way we can. I have reached out. We do still have road names outstanding, and I've reached out to GIS to find out exactly how many new road names we need. And So we should be in good order. And I want to thank Tim for doing a very thorough review. As always, we appreciate staff. But all comments in this staff report have been addressed since he did write it. So I'm Katie Watson, too, standing in for David Smith, who wanted to be here but could not be here.
Thank you, Katie. We'll take the opportunity, this has public hearings at Planning Commission and Board of County Commissioners as a major development. We'll take the opportunity this morning just to invite any question regarding technical compliance. Any member of the audience or anyone on Zoom, anyone wish to make comment about this particular application? Seeing no one in the audience and no hand up on Zoom, we will move forward with the recommended motion, Tim.
Yes, the recommended motion would be to approve it pending resolution of that one outstanding comment and move it forward to the Planning Commission. That ad goes out this week, so okay that we put it on that agenda.
B. We have a recommended motion to conditionally approve subject to satisfaction of the one outstanding issue related to that conservation designation. Do we have a motion at the dais?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed likewise?
Aye.
Hearing none, this item is conditionally approved to move forward to the Planning Commission at the next available opportunity. Thank you. That moves us to item number 8, the Seacrest Beach Tram Depot and Service Building. It's a minor development reviewed by Tim Brown. Tim, if you could introduce it for us.
Yes, thank you. This is a minor development order application submitted by Seacrest Beach 2 Homeowners Association requesting approval to construct an 896 square foot tram depot and service building in a common area on .20 acres with a future land use of mixed use and a zoning of traditional neighborhood development. It's located between Lifeguard Loop East and north of 30A in Seacrest Beach. The only outstanding comments are planning comments, and they're pretty minor. One of the, I guess the one major one is the plans were done by a landscape architect, and our code requires engineered plans, but all in all, they're pretty minor comments. With that, I'd ask the staff report be entered into the record, and I'll entertain any questions the board may have. Well, I haven't received comments from fire as of the date of this report.
And I'll just add that the stormwater report was signed and sealed by an engineer. Plans were generated by an architect.
Would you suggest that meets our requirements?
I feel that it does. This is a question that popped up in my mind when I was reviewing it, but the technical aspect of the engineering requirements, stormwater, traffic, was signed and sealed by a PE. Comfortable with it.
Based on those comments, I think we can clear that, the planning comment.
Okay.
Related to that. We have any other technical review questions from any member of the committee? For Tim? Thank you, Tim. We'll hear from the applicant. Good morning.
Morning. Happy St. Patty's.
Tell us about your project.
I think Tim pretty much did a good summary of it. It's just basically a HOA parcel where they have which is really neat. They're one of the first on 30A to have their own community tram system, which is electric. And they've got a fleet of 6 trams, so it's a very innovative thing that we've got going there. And it's just a little area where they stage all the tram operations and they put them to bed at night. And all they want to do is to build like a little 900 square foot little service building for the drivers to come in, and locker room, and they get to use the restroom, and there's one service bay in that little building. You can get one tram in there, and, work on it, clean it, maintain it, so.
Electric vehicles?
The trams are all electrics. Mhm.
Very cool.
Charging stations included, and also has space for charging golf carts also, which are used by the community.
And this is a community service within the community. Free to ride?
Yeah, it is for the residents and their guests. It is, and it's just private. It's not, it's just for their community. And we're thinking that Seaside and Rosemary, everybody else is probably at some point going to do something similar to this.
But this is provided by the HOA?
Yes.
For the benefit of residents and guests?
Yes.
Any questions?
Have any?
Phil Williams.
Thank you, Phil.
I'm a land planner and landscape architect with Province One. And we did have one small comment. Yeah, here's the stormwater management. It's 70 pages. So that portion was done by Civil. We're basically doing all the planning. Landscape architects do planning and site design and all that stuff. So we always have the civil engineer do the stormwater management plan and all that, which is required.
This is a minor development, so we're going to take the opportunity to open a public hearing and invite any question or comment from any member of the audience or any member of the public on Zoom. Anyone wishing to ask a question or make a comment about this particular application this morning? See no hands up in the room and no hands up on Zoom. We'll move forward with the recommended motion. Tim?
Yes, recommend approval of the project contingent on resolving the outstanding comments and move it forward to the development order.
Thank you, Tim. We got a recommended motion to conditionally approve subject to satisfaction of outstanding comments. Do we have a motion at the dais?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Could I have a question real quick?
Yes, sir.
The outstanding comments? On here really, no, I have to, we did turn in a signed and sealed one. Yeah, uploaded onto the, that was the first, when we were notified that the only thing that was incomplete was to have a current survey. We immediately, that day, got in touch with the surveyor. That day, they gave us a wet seal, signed and sealed copy of that survey, dated on that day. We then uploaded that and then email returned back, and the lady reviewer who is in charge of making sure it's complete said, thank you, that'll do it. So the survey thing that was handled the same day. Here's what it looks like. Yeah, it's in there, it's been uploaded. Mm-hmm. Is that it for the?
But the rest of the comments are in.
If you don't mind, let's take just 1 minute to look at this. Sorry, it was early morning.
On page 8 of 9.
Okay, so as per this meeting this morning, item number 3 is over. That's regarding the survey, because it is current, it is signed and sealed, as we just discussed, and it is uploaded on there. Number 4 is resolved. In terms of the number 1 agent affidavit, The applicant is actually the owner. There is no agent. They don't really want to, I'm really not their agent. I'm just a hired hand. I don't really,
But because you're doing the plans,
so you want
they
me
had
to,
an engineer, they'd have to do an agent affidavit as well. These come from the homeowners association to you, you know, we're doing this for you to do this project. Even though you're not the applicant, you're still doing the,
that's fine. We can do that. They just, the way they interpreted that was, I'm not actually an agent for the owner. I'm an agent in terms of their professional planning, but I'm not actually like an attorney or representing them in a legal matter.
yeah.
But we
and
can
Except that with regard to application to Walton County, you are the agent for the
Okay.
owner. Unless the owner is here signing the application and delivering the stuff
Okay,
in person.
sounds great.
It's just a formality.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. We just,
Um,
in the past, we've just done it that way, but.
It
Okay.
doesn't mean you can sign the development order for them.
Exactly.
That's where it stops,
Exactly.
and that's what they're interested in.
That's where the rubber
Yes.
meets the road. Gotcha.
It just means you can get them all the way up to that point, and then one of their officers that's authorized to bind the nonprofit ownership entity,
Yeah.
HOA entity,
Yes.
will then be required to sign.
That's Mr. Lee Nettles. He's on the, okay, so then we just need to get that agent affidavit to you. Number two, the survey is not signed and sealed. It, as we discussed, that's been uploaded. It is. Number three, survey does not contain a legal, it's not really, as far as the benefit of title floodplain information, we've already given all the floodplain information in the application.
But it should be on the survey as well. It should say it's in the X zone, or it's in the AE zone, or, that's one of our requirements. We want to see benefit of title, we want to see that it's no more than 1 year old, we want to see the floodplain data, and we want to see the certification statement, which is that it's consistent with Florida Administrative Code.
Okay.
All of that was missing. There's a legal description on the survey that I reviewed, but it's not for this common area where it's actually placed. So that's why I said no legal description.
Okay, so then as far as the survey goes, then on item number three, we've got it, number two is done, it's signed and sealed. So in terms of the survey, what we need to add on that is go ahead and make a statement that it is in flood zone X, have our surveyor do that. And also have this certification statement on the survey. We can have them add that, that'll be just fine. Number four is gone. We've already resolved that. So we just got number one. We've got a little bit of stuff to do for the surveyor to police that up. Number five, on the no title information or proof of ownership, what we've always done in the past is we submit the bylaws of the H2, board. In other words, their bylaws and whatnot. And that's what we've always done in the past. There's no real, as far as a title information or proof of ownership, y'all have always just accepted that because they own, there's a lot of different parcels and stuff in there. And, the homeowner association, they own all the common areas, just lump sum.
And
So-
on the plat, that's where the dedication is to the HOA, and just reference that plat dedication where it shows that all the common areas are dedicated to the HOA, and this is one of the common areas, and just demonstrate that the HOA is in good standing.
Okay, so we'll just go ahead and take out the plat of that area, and, it references the common areas. Okay, so we'll do that, so we'll pull that.
Every now and then, an HOA, for one reason or another, may not file their annual report, and at some point, they get involuntarily dissolved by the Secretary of State, and they can't conduct business anymore legally. And that's what we're looking for, just to make sure that the entity that is responsible for this area is legally entitled to conduct business in Florida. In other words, they hadn't been involuntarily dissolved. The
Okay.
corporation still exists.
Yeah, so there's Secret Beach 2 Homeowner
Yeah.
Association, that corporation still exists.
Just demonstrate that that is still active, and you can print that off the Secretary of State's website, and show us the dedication from the plat.
Plat and the proof that that corporation does still exist, so that'll be number five.
That'll satisfy that.
So survey on that, agent affidavit, and then show the provided ISR for the project on the site data table. We do have that.
You showed what's allowed. We always want to see both. What's allowed, what's provided. Same with the building height I put. What's
We do-
allowed, what's provided.
We do have that. It's on page number 4. What we have here is the percentage of site area that is post-construction is 71.6% impervious, and you're allowed 85%. So that's on sheet 4. And we have, it says parcel tabulations at the top of the page, so we have that tabulated here.
Just put that in your response letter.
Okay, so I'll just say for that, see sheet 4.
That's fine.
Okay? And the calculation of profit shows 0.2 on numbers. Oh, we have a little typo there, so it's actually less on the comment number 7 on the FAR.
I think in one place you've got 1, and in another place you've got 2, but 1 is correct.
Yeah, it's 1 is the correct one. Oh, I see, yeah. I'm seeing it right here. Yeah, we had a little typo there. Okay, yeah. I got you. It's a little. Fix that. That would be, that's also on sheet 4. Okay. By the buildings are both required and part of this. They're on there. The building setbacks are on the site data table here.
Both
Yeah, it's,
allowed and provided.
yeah, it's the same, allowed and provided. The building setbacks required, see supplement number 1, front setback 5 feet, rear setback 25 feet, side setbacks 5 feet. It's on sheet 4.
More clear that it's both.
Okay, that is both required and provided. Okay.
I was looking at it as being, this is what the PUD allows, but it wasn't clear that this is also what we're putting. Maybe that's just me, but I didn't pick up on it.
Okay. 5 foot front setback more legible. Okay.
Yeah, it's not, there's like another layer on top of it. It's not real, just make the line bolder or something. It's on there, but you can't see it real well.
Okay. So make it more legible. And then the last one, number 10, provide the building height. We've got the building height on there as well.
Both.
You're talking about what's required and
What's allowed.
What's allowed and what we've got?
Yes.
Well, we didn't put what was allowed, so, oh, yeah.
I
Okay,
always make those comments. I always want to see
Okay.
both. What's allowed,
Okay.
what's provided. So I think you put
Okay.
what it is. You just need to put that 50 foot is what's allowed.
Okay, gotcha. As far as these little things we have to do here, how would you like for us to do this? Would you
Just
like,
upload a resubmittal.
okay, just put an addendum, just uploading the documents, and then y'all take it from there?
Yeah, and a response letter, like you said, sheet 4. And then I'm the only one that has comments, so I'll review it, and
Okay.
once I sign off on it, I'll send you an email saying you can submit the final set of plans for the
Okay.
DO.
Sounds
Once we move it out of TRC, the next step is the development order.
Okay, well, we'll get these things done within the next day or 2, and go ahead and upload that, and I'll email you notifying you that, hey, it's all been uploaded, so please take a look.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Thank you for taking the time with that this morning.
Thank you, Phil. We have a pending motion at the dais to move this forward to development order, subject to satisfaction of any outstanding comments. Okay, well, can we have a second?
I'll second.
You have a second? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed likewise? Hearing none, this item is moved forward to development order subject to satisfaction of any outstanding comment. And that moves us to agenda item number 9, the last item on our agenda this morning, the Metcalf Commercial. This is a minor development reviewed by Tim Brown. Tim, if you can introduce it for us.
Thank you. This is a minor development order application submitted by JP Engineering requesting approval to construct a 4,401 square foot commercial building with associated infrastructure on .69 acres with a future land use, mixed use, and a zoning of coastal center. It's located in Miramar Beach on the north side of Highway 98, east of Sandy K Drive and west of St. John's Court. So it's pretty much across the street from Seashells. There's outstanding comments from planning, engineering, public works, environmental, and there's a number of outstanding scenic corridor comments as well. So with that, I'll ask that the staff report be entered into the record, and I'll entertain any questions the board may have.
So entered. I do have a question. This is Coastal Center. Not every commercial use is allowed in Coastal Center. I didn't see anything in here in the staff report that specifically indicated what this building was going to be used for.
Yeah, they use the retail parking rate, but you're right. They don't identify exactly what it's going to be. They just use the 1 per 350 parking standard.
They called it out as a children's boutique.
I took as being retail.
Retail clothing for kids, maybe?
Okay, well, we'll let the applicant share that with us.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Tracy Jernigan with JP Engineering.
Good morning.
What we're proposing is a children's boutique. To answer that question, it is the Pink and Blue Avenue that's currently operating in Okaloosa County over in Destin Commons. So they're proposing, they purchased the property, want to develop that for that boutique as well as a professional office on the back side of that building, which would be used for the applicant's husband has a glass company up in Georgia, so he wants to use that as a remote office. So it'll be a multi-use building for professional office and retail for the children's boutique. It is a small site. We did have a little bit of wetlands that we're impacting that we're currently permitting through ERP. I think it was like 0.15 acres. We did go through our avoidance and minimization, try to keep the development as far forward towards 98 as possible. But we are still in the process of achieving that dredge and fill permit for the wetland impacts there. The environmental comments that addressed the impervious surface ratio, we can still meet that requirement. We failed to include that number in the ISR reduction for that impacted area. But we're in the process of revising those plans now, and we shouldn't have any problem meeting that reduction in ISR based on that. All the comments are really relatively minor, and we're in the process of making those revisions and should be able to resubmit fairly quickly. I would say probably by first of next week. So it's pretty straightforward. I'll entertain any questions you might have.
I noticed there's no cross-access proposed.
That is, we are revising that to provide the cross-access with the improvements of 98 and the widening of 98. That's actually also raised those elevations. So our site is going to end up being a couple of feet higher than the adjacent sites. That's going to require retaining walls at those locations, but we are going to provide the turning radiuses and the cross-access agreement on our plans. The only real situation is if someone does develop the property to our east, they're going to have to come up and match our grade, similar to Culver's and I think it's Smith Antiques has a pretty substantial grade differential there, but we can provide the cross-access, but we don't have the room to grade down to that existing elevation for those property owners, but we will provide the access.
I think cross-access is important, especially as this highway gets wider. The more cars we can keep off of it, the better it'll be for all of us.
Right. Yeah, we have no problem, and that's in the revisions being done right now.
Thanks, sir. Any other questions from TRC members? This is a minor development. We'll take the opportunity to invite any comments from anyone in the audience or anyone on Zoom. Do we have anyone that wishes to make a comment or ask a question about this particular application this morning? Don't see any hands in the room. Don't see any hands on Zoom. We'll entertain a recommended motion.
Recommend approval of the project pending resolution of all outstanding comments and move it forward to the Design Review Board.
So moved.
We have a motion to conditionally approve, subject to satisfaction of outstanding comments, and then move it to Design Review Board. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed likewise? Hearing none, this motion's carried. This item will be conditionally approved to move forward to the Planning Commission, or to Design Review Board, subject to satisfaction of any outstanding comments. And that looks like that completes our agenda this morning. Thank everyone for attending and participating. If we have no further comments, we will stand adjourned.